Welcome to Salcedo Paranormal. It is Monday, March 13th, 2023, and today I am covering paranormal news. As always, you can find all episodes of the show, along with links to social media and other ways to contact me, at the podcast page, and that is salcido.podbean.com. That's SALSIDO paranormal.podbean.com. Always happy to hear from you all, whether you have comments or questions or topic suggestions or stories of paranormal experiences, whether they're your own or from others that you trust. Happy to either read those or have you join me on the show to talk about them. And I think I've already gone over the plans for this week, so I won't do that, but I will say it looks like we are set for next week. The next Wednesday night, Thursday morning show will be the roundtable show for the month. That means there will not be a live stream, but there will be an episode that will be released by at some point on Thursday morning next week. So, and of course, I will bring that up when it gets closer as well. So I think that's all the announcements I have for now. Thank you all for being here and listening, whether you are here listening live or you listen to the podcast or YouTube feeds. Always appreciated. And I think that's it. So let me get right to the stories here. I have 5 articles that we can, we'll see how many we can get through today and save the rest for next time. And of course, this first one I have is from last week. It was one I didn't get to in time for the ending of the show. And this one is, excuse me, it's from liverpoolecho.co.uk. And it says, shadow figure seen in tunnels beneath Liverpool city centre. Now, the amazing thing about this is I've heard of reports in that general area of time slips, time anomalies. So, that may be something I have to look into at some point. Just because there's been other things going on there. So this article says that Liverpool is home to one of the best kept secrets that many pass by without a second glance. And that is a place called the Williamson Tunnels. Apparently these go from, now I don't know where any of these streets are, but I'll just put it out there. They run from Mason Street to Grinfield Street, Smithdown Lane, and Paddington. They date from around 1810 to 1840, so that's a little ways back. Mentions that they were named after a wealthy tobacco merchant, Joseph Williamson, who hired people to create a maze of these brick-arched underground tunnels and vaults. But it says here that no one really knows for sure why. So and this is apparently, this was just another addition to a network of tunnels underneath the town. It's these tunnels are now under the care, it says, of the Friends of Williamson Tunnels. Says that many people often go by without looking at this entrance to this area. So mentions these paranormal investigators that wanted to visit this set of tunnels, and that's when they apparently found an apparition of a shadow figure. Of course, they mentioned that there's part of the whole reason for visiting these places is the history. Mentions that one of the investigators, named Chris, first name was Chris, said there's 2 sides to the site that they were on. One is So first, when you go in, it's a basement of a house where they started digging from, and so of course it mentions again in the article that no one knows for sure why, uh, but there are theories such as an underground meeting place. Uh, so that's one of the major theories there. The other is that he was a philanthropist who wanted to dig and see how far he could go. Um, that's huh. Um, but apparently there's no evidence to support that. So, uh, now the place where people have had experiences is known as Paddington, which is still part of these tunnels, I guess. Excuse me. Um, so it mentions here in the article that says that after hearing about a shadow figure that appears to visitors and people sensing another being there, these investigators, first names Chris and Adam, wanted to have this happen to them. So it's basically a huge site. It says over 3 levels, so that's amazing. That's 3 underground stories apparently. And this is where he saw a shadow figure, and caught it out of the corner of his eye. So mentions that this figure was darker than the other darkness around it, and so let me see here. Apparently, there were also throughout the night various pieces of equipment would flash, and then they would also hear noises and taps that we couldn't explain. I've had that in my apartment, so I know how weird that can be. And Chris thinks that he may have seen the spirit of a former worker, apparently. So mentions the dangers of making these tunnels, choking hazards, just bad conditions. And so mentions he mentions the strangest thing that happened on that night was while they were in a place called the cathedral chamber, and they heard a loud noise on the audio of their recordings. It sounded like someone tapping metal, but there was no one there except for themselves. So it sounds like this place is active. And there's more here to the article. Talks about the history of the tunnels and what should be done about them. And so in the article there, I'll leave you all to read the rest. But just wanted to share that one. That's one I had left over from the last news show. Tunnels to me are always amazing. Just the idea of just being completely under or below ground. So, but yeah, I don't know. Really a neat story there. So let's see here. Moving on to the next article. This one is from, excuse me, the dailystar.co.uk. And the title says, Ghost of Green Lady Snapped Smiling by Paranormal Investigators at pub. So, one of these things, especially it seems like in the UK, so many places that were pubs or restaurants, they seem to have activity there. And I mean, there's a fair amount of that in the US too, so it's not really just the UK, but so this is they're talking about the what is claimed to be the most haunted pub in Glasgow. I'm terrible with names. It's also said to be the oldest pub in the area, and so mentions that this team of paranormal investigators caught an image of a smiling green figure in this pub, which is known as it's called the Scotia. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. It was established in 1792. So it's said to be haunted by a spirit who was once a barmaid and wears a green velvet dress while wandering around the place. Apparently, the apparition has been caught on camera by paranormal investigators, it says. And so let's see here. Checking out more of the article. It mentions that one of the investigators, Anthony, had an overwhelming urge to go into this place. And that's so wow. Let me see here. Let me just go back and read. Oh, March 5th. I'm sorry. So March 5th this year. I thought I said when he was 5. I was thinking, wow, that's. But the joys of being legally blind and trying to read. So apparently, he went in this place just based on a feeling, which is always amazing. I know sometimes people want to write those things off, but at this point, I've had enough experiences where I don't. And apparently, in one of these pictures, she appeared to him in one of these pictures. You can all check out the article. It has the pictures in there. And mentions one of the other investigators, Richard, mentions that there was a green light that appeared in one of them, and a woman smiling as if to say, it says, "Here I am." And so apparently after it was captured, the owner was basically said that in all her years there, she had never seen an image like it. So, let's see here. Looks like that's it for this article overall. Yeah. Other than just talking about more investigations. And, let's see here. Oh, there's a little more. It mentions that apparently there are other apparitions that have been there, appeared there. And one includes a former manager, and a woman there that was also appears in the place. So it seems like that's a fairly active location. So I'll leave you all to the rest of the article. I think I got to the end of it, but there's still a lot of details in there I didn't go over. So definitely check that one out as well. So now moving out of excuse me, the UK to the US. We'll go on to the next one here. One moment, please. Okay. So this next one is a short one. There's not a lot to it, but it does bring up a location in New Jersey that I've heard about before. This is from 943thepoint.com. And the title of this one says, "This creepy New Jersey location is one of the most haunted places in America." Now, what I find odd about this article is it mentions that fact, but doesn't go into any detail about that. And then, of course, it mentions that the more commonly known paranormal thing that happens there, apparition that's been seen there, or creature even, is of course the Jersey Devil. But I'm really wondering now, this may be another one of those locations where I have to look into, because it mentions that this whole area, which is an outdoor area, is said to be haunted. So I'm really wondering what they're basing that. Not this article. This is based on another website, another website's claim. But I would be curious to know what else is said to go on there. So it's sort of more just a note of a note here in the way. I always like to, whenever these articles show up talking about places I've already talked about before, I still like to cover them just to make a point to have it on some kind of record, I guess, in the form of the show that these places are still being talked about. So, again, that's a quick article. You can check it out, and it won't take long to read. So, moving on to this next article here. This one is from newsradio1310.com. Says that passing silhouettes, bathing spirits reported at South Idaho Inn. And talks about some other pretty famous or well-known places in the area that are also said to be haunted. Apparently, this is a. Let's see here. I have the name of the place. This this place is a hotel, but it's been let's see here. Lost where I was at. Okay, the Enders Hotel is the name of the place. And it's been featured in different websites about regarding most haunted places in the state. And the writer of this article apparently had a chance to stay there at one point. Apparently, there are reports of strange splashing sounds coming from bathtubs, empty chairs rocking, manifestations, it says. I don't know what they exactly mean by that. Maybe the apparitions. Restless murder victim and an alleged former owner who wanders the basement. So, again, another quick one, but always interested to hear about these hotels, especially when it's one like this that I'd never heard of before. So, but that just goes to show that whole trend that so many hotels appear to have paranormal activity going on in them. And this one in Idaho seems to be that fit into that group. I want to go and stay in a hotel someday that is said to be haunted, just to see what happens. Someday, but going to this last article here. This is from let me see here, Fox10Phoenix.com. It says ghost glare. Arizona trucker shares footage of chilling sighting. And so this article talks about, this is basically dash cam footage from a truck driver, passing through Arizona. And he thinks that the dash cam caught something strange in the image. Or in the footage, I mean. The driver, we'll just go with his first name, William, said he was on SR 87 near around 2:30 a.m. on March 11th, so that's only a couple days ago. He passed by a transparent figure standing on the side of the road. Says he described the figure as just standing in the roadway. And he says that it looks like you can see the lines through the legs making the figure. So I'm wondering if they mean the lines of the road. It's possible. I've seen a couple of different apparitions that just slid right through solid objects. So, because they were transparent, or at least somewhat transparent. Says that SR 87 has seen its fair share of deadly car crashes. Mentions it's one of the state's main highways to get to and from mountain communities. So this is this whole thing with people seeing apparitions and figures while on the road. It's such a huge thing. I forget. I think it's called The Road to Strange. There was a book all about paranormal experiences people had while they were on the road. It's a really good book, actually. And yeah, so I don't doubt that people have these experiences at all. When it comes to seeing things on the road, apparitions. There's been, of course, cryptids seen, and so yeah, I don't doubt that at all. Not really. So these articles here, I like how they talk about places, but then also just places that are indoors, but then also just outdoors. I think there's a lot that happens outside of buildings just as much as there is that happens inside. So, but I think that'll do it for today. I thought these articles would take longer to get through than they did. So, Thank you all for listening. I'll be back tomorrow with true paranormal stories on the web on the next episode of Salcedo Paranormal. Take care, everyone.